there is a supernatural world that surrounds us. Sometimes it manifests to people like you and me. You'll hear stories about this so much more right here on Supernatural Confrontations. My friend from Portugal, Fransisco, he's also the head of exopolitics. It will be joining us. It's a two-parter. The first one will be on Fatima, the apparitions, so-called apparitions that happened there, 1917. Unbelievable. We have two films on this, and Fransisco really was our guide and put all the interviews together. So he's the co-producer of the film. And then we're going to talk about exopolitics, the idea of UFOs, what's going on, the revealing, the so-called, extraterrestrial presence. We'll get into that. So the first show is on Fatima. We'll finish that show. The second one is going to be on the burgeoning UFO phenomena. But first, a word from our very trusted sponsor. Here's the hard truth, folks. Every 6 years, your dollar loses half its buying power. That's right. That means a $100,000 savings account today could feel like $50,000 by 2031. And you see it every time you fill up your tank, buy groceries, or pay the bills. Prices are up, your dollar is down. But there's a simple way to protect the value of your savings with something real, something proven. Folks, it's gold, and we invested, and frankly, I'm glad we did. Gold is an asset that holds its value over time. That's why I trust Noble Gold Investments. They make it simple to protect your savings with physical gold or silver. No high-pressure sales, no call centers, just honest guidance, one-on-one support, and transparent pricing. And right now, when you open a qualified account, Noble Gold will send you a free 10-ounce silver American flag bar as a thank you. Head to noblegoldinvestments.com today to learn more. Folks, that's noblegoldinvestments.com, noblegoldinvestments.com. Don't just protect your wealth, preserve its power. We invested, as I said, I'm glad we did. I believe gold is going to go up. Just a reminder, there's always a risk for any investment like this. However, I've invested in gold, and I'm glad I did. Thanks for watching. Fransisco, thanks for coming on the show. It's always great to see you, my friend. And we had a lot of interesting adventures together, no doubt about it. So, we've got two films on the Fatima apparitions. You were the co-producer, really the producer in some ways, because definitely co-producer all day long, because you put together all the interviews that we did. I mean, it was just, and Miguel was responsible for hooking me up with you. So this whole thing's like an 8-cushion shot, which was incredible. I was recently on with a gentleman who believes that the Fatima apparitions were Mary of the Bible. And we crossed swords in a very polite way. And I told him about the fourth witness, Carolina Correa. I told him about, what Fina di Armada saw, that our films are based on the handwritten documentation from Father Fiera and nobody else. And a lot of what he was throwing at me came 10 years later when Lucia is in the convent and all the stuff with Russia and everything else comes out. So it was very interesting. And, you really spearheaded our investigation. I had read Joaquim Fernandez and Fina di Armada's books. So I had read all 3 books before I got there. So I was a student of Fatima, but it wasn't until we really all sat down and started talking about all this, which was incredible. So here's the first question. Why, in your opinion, is this not Mary of the Bible?
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me. It's always a great pleasure to see when we haven't seen each other for some time.
Yes.
We did spend great time together back in the day, filming not only for Fatima, but other stuff. And it's always a real pleasure to speak with you, to be with you. We are a real good friends.
Yeah. Billy Fuchimo.
Well, regarding Fatima, regarding the operation, I think we have to understand that one thing is faith. And so you cannot debate faith. That leads always to confrontation.
Yeah.
Confrontation of ideas, confrontation of emotions. If you have your own beliefs, well, we have to respect them. There's plenty of fighting throughout history across the globe just because of belief. And so we have to separate waters. And if you try to if you focus on the data instead of belief,
Right.
if you can have a mature conversation, putting emotions aside and belief aside, and you start delving into all the facts, you start realizing that there are things that don't make sense, that don't fit with the story, and especially if you go through the history of apparitions, and then you realize that it's difficult to not believe that it's the Virgin Mary, because then it's a very busy entity.
Very busy.
Very busy entity. It's up until 1991, just 1991. Right now I forget the name of this theologian. He identified more than 2,500 apparitions across the globe throughout history. 2,500 apparitions. And through the work of my colleague and friend Joaquim Fernandes, he identified just in Portugal 56 apparitions. The most known is Fatima. There are at least two other that have characteristics similar to the one from Fatima. The thing that's really puts Fatima aside, it's the time period. It's 6 months of apparitions, right? And all the other paranormal effects that we have to account also. So it's a very complex story. It's just not the apparition, right?
Right.
You have the pre-annunciation several months before. You have the psychics that channel the message.
Right.
You have people witnessing several different objects or phenomena. So it's not just apparition. There's flying hats. What's a flying hat?
Well, that's a flying hat.
People that don't know exactly what they're seeing because they don't have something to correspond to understand, right? People never have seen an airplane,
right?
So they see something that flies similar to
a hat, flying hat.
A flying hat
makes sense to me.
Globes of light rotating in the cloud. So yeah, it's complex. It's complex, and the Virgin Mary doesn't need all that stuff, and specifically doesn't announce or pre-announce her coming or her apparition through psychics. That's not normal.
Yeah.
The Catholic Church doesn't recognize psychics or channeling.
Right. And we know that that's exactly what happened. I mean, you took us to the I'm trying to think of the word for it. Basically it's not the original building where all this came down, but
no.
Yeah,
we went through to a place where it's like you would call it a temple of psychics.
Yes.
And we talked to the leader of that temple, who was, I believe, a relative to the originals, at least to one of the original psychics that received the message.
And so we
had a conversation with him,
and we saw the handwritten, document that was events from published in Osaka,
March 7th. No, sorry. The document is from March 10th, 1917.
Yeah.
So the communication was on February 7th, 1917, and then they published the announcement.
I want to talk about our second film, Strange Phenomena, where we talk about, and this is, again, this is because of your research and the people that you were able to connect me with, which was just amazing. I mean, these people have dedicated, decades of their lives in researching this thing. And the second film is called Strange Phenomena, where we talk about exploding cars and windshields and fires breaking out and the flyover, the flyby, and all this stuff. Speak to that in whatever order you want.
Well, to make a context, Fatima, again, 6 months period. So starting in May, 13th of May, this entity that shows up to 3 little children and asks them to return to that place every 13th of the month. And in the end, it would tell them who it was and what's the goal, the objective for it to come, right? And ask them to learn how to read as well. So the basis of knowledge, basically. Right? So every 13th of the month, this in May they talked with their relatives. No one believed exactly what they were telling, and then they keep telling. So in June and July and August, more and more people were coming because they wanted also to see what was happening, and they believed that it was the Virgin Mary, because they said, well, if it comes from above, who can it be?
Who else could it be? Right.
Exactly. So on October 13th, 1917, when a miracle was expected, or at least a revelation, because the entity would tell them something. Right? The secret is basically who the entity is and what's the purpose of the visit. But it never told them there. Right? So there were, it had been raining all night, had been raining all morning. About 50 to 70,000 people were there, all wet with the umbrellas, etc. And at noon, the apparition takes place. And at the same time, there's this round-shaped object that comes from behind the clouds and makes a dive to the crowd, a flyby, and through the path of the object, people felt heat, heard the buzzing sound, which is really common in contact cases, and there were some miracle healings also that happened. And in terms of the manifestation that occurred, that was told by some witnesses, the very few cars that were there, in some cases there was spontaneous combustion of gasoline, windshields that shattered, and so also people were frightened because they didn't understand exactly what was happening, right? And they again, there were all sorts of people, academics, medical doctors, and lay people, right? And it's the witness reports from the higher educated people that matter.
I agree.
Well, every witness matters, but someone who is a university professor that has higher education, that still says it's a round-shaped object with flaming lights, right, rotating on itself, and it says like round shape, like a dull silvery disc.
Yeah, I mean, there it is, right?
what else?
Yeah, I mean, if it's 1917 and I'm looking up at this, I'm going to call it a dull silver disc because UFO and UAP and flying saucer is not in the vernacular. Those terms wouldn't come for decades later. So I'll never forget when and this again because of you. This is the cover for it, and this is one of the photographs. Thank you, Jose Machado, who's in. We interviewed him thanks to Fransisco, our co-producer in Portugal. It's just incredible. No one in America had ever seen this, or when I say nobody, it certainly wasn't public. And this, to me, I'll hold it up a little closer so the folks can get a better view. There's the object. You can see it right there. There's the disc-like object above the apparition site. And I mean, that's a smoking gun. And tell us a two-part question. The first part is, tell us the backstory, how Jose found it, when he's admitted, and then tell us about the interview that was done with a well-known production company where Jose and Fina de Armado, when she was still alive, sit down and discuss this, and the powers that be put the kibosh on it. It's never aired.
So Jose Machado is an academic, a professor at the university in semiotics, and he was helping a colleague of his to do research on glass plates from early 19th century.
There you go.
Photographs that were done in glass plates. And they besides going to the National Archives, they also, because there was this very well-known photographer that used to be also the photographer for the royal family. So you know that Portugal was founded in 1143 and was a monarchy until 1910. And since after 1910 became a republic. And from this first period of the first republic, like we call it, Joshua Benuliel was still very active as a well-known photographer. So there were several collections of him in the National Archives, but also at the monastery in Fatima, because of several, and they were there collecting some samples and analyzing the glass plates, when suddenly Jose Machado thought maybe there's something about Fatima. Maybe he was there. And so they started looking and spent a full day there without any luck, until at the last minute, as an old suitcase was found.
It's just like the Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's just gone forever. See,
wow. Like a movie.
Wow.
Inside the suitcase, there were a set of 13 or 14 glass plates from 1917, from the 13th of October, 1917.
There you go.
And so he took some photos of those glass plates, and there are a few that indeed show some strange things. But remember, it's not like today that you see something, you immediately press and it's taken. No, these old machines required some time to set everything, and then open the lens in terms of capturing all the light, etc. And then so several seconds in order to take one picture. So during that time, several things could happen as well. So you could miss a lot. These are photos for stills, right? Not for something that is moving or whatever.
And that's, I just want
to the seconds. Oh yeah. So I think I replied to both.
Yeah. Well, yes and no, but when we, I mean, this is when I mean, you can see it, folks. It's like right there. There is a disc-like object that is hovering over the apparition site, and no one had seen that photograph. When I say no one, yeah, people saw it when it was taken in 1917, but it wasn't published until Jose Machado came in and saw this.
There were inside. There are a few photos on the internet that are from
and I've used those in the film. Yes,
but those are from the National Archives.
Right.
There are several from copies from from glass plates from Joshua Gonoliel as well, but from the National Archives. Those specific with the strange phenomena are not. And so in that sense, you were more or less like a pioneer. The other question that you were asking about the documentary that was done for a cable TV network.
right.
Indeed, this documentary was about UFOs, extraterrestrial, etc. But there was one specific episode, one full episode, 50-minute episode, that would be just about Fatima. And the original researchers here in Portugal were indeed Kennedy Armada and Joaquim Fernandes,
Right.
both historians. And Fina de Armada, because, well, it's a long story, she didn't respect an agreement with the Institute for Scientific Research, a national institute, academic institute, and she published the findings of the Fatima case without consulting the jury of the institute, and so that led to the canceling of her scholarship, and even her how can I say, her life in academia was very, very hit by this. And so when there was this opportunity to find for a big documentary for a big TV station, she was very pleased. She was already very ill with cancer, and we spent a full day with her filming for the documentary when Jose Machado was there as well. And then in the end, after the editing of it was a 18 episode documentary series, one episode dedicated to Fatima. These episodes would premiere every Sunday on prime time.
Wow.
And on this specific Friday afternoon, I got a call from the production team saying, well, this episode will not air. Someone from the board of directors of the channel said they didn't want to upset the religious feelings of the public, and so they censored. So that episode was never, ever aired. So it's stored somewhere.
Let me ask you something. Is it possible to find out who has the episode and try to purchase it? Do you think that could be done?
I think it's difficult. It's property of the channel.
Well, you never know. It could be. Let me ask you something, because I want to shift gears and end this particular interview, and then we'll do a second interview on exopolitics in Portugal. My last question is this: in your opinion, what was the event on October 13th, 1917, at Fatima, Portugal? What was it?
Well, apparently it was some kind of UFO, some kind of UAP, something that came physical, not a physical object that came from behind the clouds that made a flyby over people's heads. And again, all the phenomena that manifests throughout those 6 months, it's so complex and diverse that you can, if you read Jacques Vallée's opinion of the phenomena, you can more or less fit there, because it's always like something or someone is projecting a scenario for us without answers, right? Without specific answers. Everything, it's like a control system to make us almost like we are hostages of this projection.
It's a very sobering statement there, because they are manipulating stuff, and we're looking at this, and who knows what we're looking at. Francisco, thanks so much for that. And folks, we do have 2 films on Fatima. Oops, let's see it. I took the cover out of the case so people could see it without so much of a reflection. But there's and we talked, we interviewed Jose, in the film, and of course, there's the first one. So we did a deep dive. Thank you again for being a producer in Portugal and setting up all those interviews. It's been a pleasure working with you, and I'm sure we're not done yet, but we'll see what happens. Anyway,
it was all mine. And just to add,
please,
you may remember that you did an interview, a specific interview. It was online, a remote interview with Jose.
Yes.
And Richard Shaw was still alive.
Yes,
I
yes.
remember. Specifically about the glass plates,
which is in the film. Yeah, and we held his feet to the fire. Definitely held his feet to the fire. So, Francisco, thanks so much for joining us. That's it for today, folks. UFOs are real, burgeoning, not going away. In my opinion, this is the coming great deception. And I think our 2 films on Fatima show that this was a UFO event. But believe what you want to believe. We're not going to disparage your belief system. Go to lamarzulli.com. If you're interested, you can stream them, streaming.lamarzulli.net. I want to thank Francisco and all the folks in Portugal, all the experts who came on the record for these 2 films. And I just want to extend another thank you to them, especially Jose Machado. That's it. We'll be back again with another episode real soon. Hey, folks, Elliot Marzulli here with a very special announcement. We've got a real hot summer sale for you. We've lowered the prices on all of this. This is the lowest price we've ever done. 10 DVDs and the book, Rungs and Disclosure, everything for $49. Are you kidding me? The value is like well over $200. If you were to buy any of these DVDs separately, be a $200 deal. Plus the book at $25, $49. Why are we doing this? Because UFOs are real, burgeoning, and not going away. This is the coming great deception. But when we go up, they come down. When we go up, they show up. It's not going away. Your Congress, our Congress, is talking about it on a weekly basis. David Grush stated on the record, it's one of the rungs in the book, Rungs of Disclosure, that we have non-human biologics in our possession. And those non-human biologics came from where? Crashed craft, right there. Folks, wake up. You got to get cured of your cognitive dissonance, and you need to wake up. The special is going to go on for a couple of days. Grab it while you can. Remember, $49. Great deal. $10 DVD set and Rungs of Disclosure. Lowest price we've ever done. And you know what? We don't have to do this, but we're doing it for you, because we need to get the word out, and you need to tell a friend. God bless you. We'll see you soon.